all of you are doing well. And in this video, I'll be giving you some information on the business analysis approach. And this is taken from the Babok guide. And if you're not sure of what is a business analysis approach, then this video is for you. So without any delay, let's get into it. So you must be thinking, why should I actually build something like a business analysis approach? So let's take the scenario of you're a new business analyst assigned to a project, and that project might be a new project or it could be a project that was already started and you're midway on that project. So sometimes there would be questions of where do I start, what do I do, what are all the different business analysis activities that are taking place, what are the different approaches that is being taken. You might have all these questions. Similarly, if it's going to be a new project, you would definitely have to plan how do you take about the business analysis approach. Which approach do you want to take? So, to answer all these questions is why the business analysis approach is required. And it's essential for every new business analyst who's assigned to a project. So, it also determines the business analysis approach that needs to be taken so that the work effectively the planning work will effectively it will be aligned with the project objectives as well. So you just can't just perform some business analysis activities which is not going to align with the project goals. All your activities should be in alignment with the goals and objectives of the project. So this business analysis approach will allow you and enable you to define this and keep track of it. So, what is the business analysis approach? So, the business analysis approach is the plan that the senior or a lead business analyst on a project would create. And what this does is it describes the way that all the business analysis activities will be executed. So, let's say that someone gives you a project of doing a construction for a house, and the construction engineer needs to give a plan as to this is what we are going to do. This time is what we're going to focus on, maybe the foundation. At this particular period of time, we're going to do these activities and we will complete this task. Let's say we'll be putting up the bricks and then later on we'll be focusing on the plumbing, electrical. So you people give you a plan. So as a business analyst as well, you need to give a plan of how you're going to carry out the business analysis work, and that is what is the business analysis approach. So the business analysis approach should align to the overall goals of the change. So whatever change that you're bringing about, the business analysis, it should align with it, as well as it should coordinate all the business analysis tasks with the activities and deliverables of the overall change. The next one is it should include the tasks to manage any risk that could reduce the quality of business analysis deliverables or impede task efficiency. So let's say that I can give you an example. If you don't have experienced business analysts in your team, or a business analyst is not familiar with the domain of the project, these could be examples of risks that are involved in business analysis. So you need to even call out those risks as part of the business analysis approach. And the last one is the business analysis approach should leverage approaches and select techniques and tools that have historically worked well. So when you get onto a project, you need to understand how the other business analysts had worked with similar type of projects, what went well for them and what should be avoided. So all this should be taken into consideration when you're coming up with the business analysis approach. So basically, if you see it, the business analysis approach, there is a diagram for it, which is you to build the business analysis approach. Okay, this is the output. Okay, you need to know what is the need, what is the objective, okay, or what is the problem that you are solving. Once you know the need, which is the input, you need to plan your business analysis approach. And you can plan your business analysis approach by taking into consideration and help from some guidelines and tools. So you have the business analysis the performance assessment, and then you have the business policies, expert judgment, methodologies and frameworks, and also stakeholder engagement approach. So all these guidelines and tools can also help you to come up with a business analysis approach. And once you're done with it, the output of this particular task would be the business analysis approach. So let's see this in detail. So what is the input? As I said, the input is the need. You need to understand what is the need, which is the business analysis approach is shaped by the problem or opportunity that is faced by the organization. So unless you know what is the problem, only then you can plan for how you'll be carrying out the analysis. So there are different elements to consider while planning. So when you're coming up with a business analysis plan, you need to first check on you need, or you rather you should plan on what is the approach that you're going to take. Okay, so there are two approaches. One is predictive versus adaptive. So predictive is nothing but waterfall, and adaptive is nothing but the agile methodology. So unless you know what is the type of method or approach that you're going to take for your project, only then you would be able to come up with a plan. So for example, if it's going to be adaptive, then you needn't, do all the analysis upfront initially. But if it's going to be predictive, then you need to, end to end gather all the requirements, define all the requirements, analyze all the requirements, and then you need to get it signed off. So there is a very key importance of identifying what is going to be the approach of your project in order to define the business analysis approach. The next one is the formality and level of detail of business analysis deliverables. So what is going to be the deliverable? So either you would come up with the product roadmap, or you will come up with a BRD, you will come up with the FRD, you might come up with user stories depending on what approach. So you need to first, as I said, understand what is going to be the approach that you're going to be taking. If it's going to be a waterfall approach, then you would have all these documents, the BRD, FRD, etc., that you need to come up with, and that's going to be the level of formality. But if you're going to work in agile, then you would have to come up with the product backlog. You need to come up with how many weeks is going iteration is going to consist of. You need to come up with the first set of items that are going to be taken into the iteration. All this depends on the approach. The next one is you need to define what are going to be the business analysis activities that are going to be taking place. So activities could range from a number of activities. So for your project, you need to define what are all going to be the activities that you would be performing as part of the business analysis for that project. The next one is you need to define the timing of business analysis work. So every work, there is a particular period in which you would perform a business analysis activity or a task. Okay, so first, for example, you need to come up with the BRD. Post that, you can define the FRD and all the requirements. Or for example, you would come up with the product backlog. Then you would identify what are all going to be the main items that should be taken as part of MVP, and then you would come up with that. So, and then you would define the iteration. So all these, you need to define what is going to be the timeline and when all these analysis will take place. For example, you can say that you're going to do requirement elicitation at this point of time, then you're going to do some analysis, then you're going to do some workshops. So all this needs to have a timing. The next one is the complexity and the risk. So you also need to define what are all going to be the complexities and risks that you might face in the business analysis. So as I mentioned, for example, the risks. If there's not going to be any experienced business analysts out there on the project, it could be a risk. If you're not familiar with the domain, it could be a risk. If you're not, you don't have enough details of the project, of the need, of the input, that could be a risk in order for you to carry out your business analysis activities. So you need to identify what are the risks. Same thing for complexity. So the bigger the project, and if it's going to be predictive in nature, then the complexity is going to be more. If you need all the requirements upfront, complexity increases. So you need to mention in detail what are the complexities and risks as well, and finally the acceptance. So at every end of any business analysis activity, what is going to be the acceptance criteria? Who is going to approve or who's going to review whatever business analysis work is done, and who's going to be giving the sign off? So you need to be able to identify all this as part of your business analysis approach. So as I mentioned, there are certain guidelines and tools that can help you to do this business analysis approach plan. The first one is business analysis performance assessment. So in the past, your organization would have already done business analysis for projects. So you need to identify and you need to be able to get the results of previous assessments that should be reviewed, and it also should and incorporate into all planning approaches. So you need to identify what went well. The things that went well, you should be able to incorporate that even in your business analysis approach. Omit all the things that didn't go well, but include whatever went well. The next one is business policies. So the business policies, you understanding business policies will help you to define the limits within which decisions must be made. So if you see that they may be described by regulations, contracts, agreements, deals, warranties, certifications, or any other legal obligations. Okay, so all these would kind of influence the business analysis approach. Okay, so you also need to identify and see what are the different regulations, contracts, etc., that might be associated with your project in order to come up with your business analysis approach plan. The next one is expert judgment. So you this is used as a guideline to determine the optimal business analysis approach. So if you're new and you haven't tried out certain business analysis approach, then there would be people who have already worked with several techniques and tools and different methods. They would be able to provide you with the optimal business analysis approach that you could probably take for the type of project you're working on. And also you need to take into consideration the prior experiences of business analysts, other stakeholders. They also should be considered when you are trying to select or trying to modify a particular approach. Just don't go with your own assumptions. If you have people helping you to help you out, if you have SMEs, then you can also reach out to them as well. The next one is methodologies and frameworks. So these methodologies and frameworks will also shape the approach that will be used by providing you with some methods, techniques, procedures, working concepts, and rules. So they may be, it's not going to be very customized for your particular problem that you are solving, but it could act like a framework for you in which you can slightly tailor it for your business analysis activities. So you can take this as well into consideration. And finally, the output of your business analysis approach is going to be the plan of your business analysis approach. That is, this is what I have planned, and this is how the business analysis activities is going to take place for this project. So this would give you information of who will perform the activities, the timing and sequence of the work that is going to be done, what are all going to be the deliverables that are going to be produced, and also the business analysis techniques that may be utilized. So one thing to keep in mind is that this plan may not be fixed. So depending how the business analysis activities are going on, if there is going to be any change in the need or in the problem statement, there could be chances in which this business analysis approach plan might change. Okay, so it's a continuous process of trying to identify if a particular approach or if a particular technique did not go well, then you can always update your plan accordingly. But that's it for the business analysis approach plan. So in case you're new into a project, or if you have already you've been into a project, maybe it's good to have this plan, because then people would know how you are carrying out the business analysis activities for the particular project you are working on, and how everything works in alignment with the business objective. So I hope that you got some information on this. If you like this video, please do give this a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to this channel, and also do share your feedbacks. Thank you.